ShareTweetLoretta Lynch, who was Barack Obama's Attorney General, is in hot water, and things are about to boil over. After more than 2 years of speculation and great investigative work, Lynch's signature was found on every FISA application to spy on President Donald Trump. Now, the former AG is really regretting it. You'll love this. The president and his supporters have long contended that the Obama administration used the intelligence community to illegally spy on the Trump campaign in 2016 and continued to spy after he took office. Now, Attorney General William Barr has appointed John Durham, the U.S. Attorney in Connecticut, to investigate the origins of the Russia investigation and decide whether intelligence-gathering methods involving the Trump campaign were lawful and appropriate. Which brings us to last night on the Laura Ingraham angle on Fox. Former Deputy Assistant Attorney General John Yoo noted that Obama's Attorney General Loretta Lynch signed off on every FISA warrant during Obama's last few years in office, and that is going to be a huge problem for her. As somebody who's worked on FISA applications, I can tell you how high it could go because under the FISA law itself the Attorney General has to approve the FISA application, said Yoo. So if the Steele dossier, which we now know was completely made up, was used as a basis for the FISA application, then you have somebody that was high up in the FBI that had to approve that. Somebody high up in the Justice Department had to approve that. Ultimately the Attorney General, Loretta Lynch, has to approve that. And then a second thing we haven't touched on yet is that it appears that the FBI attempted to send undercover informants and agents to infiltrate the Trump campaign, Yoo added. Former Deputy AG Yoo went on to say that the bogus FISA applications would have warranted a meeting between Lynch and former FBI Director James Comey to ensure everything was handled on the up and up. There was one honest man who worked amongst all this scum. Former NSA Director Mike Rogers found out that the FISA warrants were granted based on the bogus Steele dossier. He also noticed these deep state rats like Peter Strzok and Lisa Page were unmasking an awful lot of American citizens working with the Trump campaign. Rogers acted immediately to shut them down. In fact, Rogers made sure they were shut down for good. However, they had already done a lot of damage to Trump. Following the discovery that outside contractors for the FBI were accessing raw FISA data, then National Security Agency, NSA, Director ADM Mike Rogers directed the NSA's Office of Compliance to conduct a fundamental baseline review of compliance associated with 702 at some point in early April 2016, Senate testimony and page 83-84 of court ruling, reported the Epoch Times. And what did Strzok and Page do? They freaked out and reported to their deep state bosses, former FBI Deputy Director Andy McCabe, whose boss was Comey and counterintel agent Bill Priestap, who reported both to Comey and AG Lynch. From the Epoch Times, despite a continuous daily stream of messages between Strzok and Page, no texts from the specific day that Rogers halted contractor access to the NSA database have been made public. On the following day, April 19, 2016, Page sent a text that ended with "and still in with Andy." FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, the version available is heavily redacted. Strzok responded, "Hi, going to try and catch Bill." This text refers to Bill Priestap, head of the FBI's Counterintelligence Division. Later, Page responded again, "Still in with Andy." These text messages remain highly redacted because they disclose information about Rogers shutting them down, and that is part of this new investigation Barr just opened, so they remain classified. However, we do have Rogers' testimony before the Senate Judiciary Committee. Admiral Mike Rogers: I was briefed on something like October the 20th. I then, from memory, went to the Department of Justice and then on to the FISA court at the end of October. I think it was something like the 26th of October, and we informed the court, "We have a compliance issue here and we're concerned that there's an underlying issue with a technical solution we put in place." Sen. James Langford, "So you reported initially to the court, this is an issue, or the court initially came to you and said, we have an issue?" Rogers, "I went to the court and said, we have an issue. Yes, the deep state rats definitely have an issue, too." The Democrats are trying to dismiss AG Barr's insistence that these crimes committed by the Obama administration be properly investigated. For a long time, many of us thought we'd never see the day the deep state rats were brought to justice. Well, just like Trump advisor Jody Genova said last night, "For the first time I believe these guys are going to jail. This is big time." We couldn't agree more. Justice delayed is still justice, and these rats have a huge bill to pay to the American people. Share tweet.